Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on the Morning Majority. We get to talk to my buddy Chris Moody, who has had quite a trek. He was in New Hampshire, stayed up late, he was in Iowa, stayed up late, flew over to New Hampshire, stayed up, wrote some copy, took a nap, and got up to talk to us. How's it going, Chris Moody of Yahoo News?
Good morning, Mary Catherine Ham. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, sure thing. So, eight votes. I keep wanting to say 8 points because it's bowl season. Eight vote win. What does it mean? And can Santorum actually compete in New Hampshire?
Well, I'll tell you, if only that family from that TV show, 19 Kids and Counting, who endorsed Santorum earlier this week for Iowan, this would have been a totally different ballgame.
I know, right? There's like 22 of them.
Right. Well, 21, and then there's the other one on the way. But they're unfortunately they're from Arkansas, so he loses by these 8 points, or these, as you said, the 8 votes. As we go into New Hampshire, Mitt Romney is slated to win this thing. He's polling at about 40%. However, it's looking like Rick Perry and Michele Bachmann could duck out of this, which would mean that strengthens Newt Gingrich and even Rick Santorum against Romney, if not in New Hampshire, definitely in South Carolina, because the conservatives have fewer candidates to go to.
Does Santorum even have a sort of skeletal volunteer staff in New Hampshire? Anything to work with there?
He has very little to work with, but they're a very excited bunch from what I read. They're very energetic, and he's going to get a bump from headlines and fundraising. So he's going to try to, and he's going to have to capitalize on that big time if he wants to get any momentum. I think most people thought he would get maybe 1 or 2% in New Hampshire, but if he can get maybe even double digits here because of this little bump, that'll make him look really strong going into South Carolina.
Do you get the sense that the anti-Romney vote from Perry and Bachmann would go to Gingrich or go to Santorum?
I think at this point it would go to Gingrich. He was extremely wounded in Iowa because all of the negative ads. But I don't know if the ads have had that same impact in other states. So I think he's still got a fighting chance here. Those ads in Iowa really just clobbered him. So I think he feels like he's got a fresh start here in New Hampshire and even in South Carolina. Last night I flew on the airplane with him from Iowa here to New Hampshire, and before he got on the plane, he gave this angry speech where he was just fed up with these ads, and he said, "We're gonna hit back hard starting tomorrow." So look for some new life out of Gingrich here, and definitely some new ads going after Romney.
John Huntsman has kind of put all his eggs in one basket in New Hampshire. Does he have any chance at winning this, or playing any kind of spoiler for Romney?
I don't think he has necessarily a big chance of winning because the discrepancy is so big. Let's say Huntsman is at 10% and Romney's at 40%. That's a huge gap that you have to narrow in a short amount of time. However, remember that Rick Santorum was polling at near zero even in Iowa just before Christmas, and look what he did now. So, you know what, I'm not going to be surprised if anything happens this time.
Talking with Chris Moody, political reporter for Yahoo News. So, the Romney people feel like they won. Obviously, they won by 8 points.
8 points.
8 points.
Votes.
8 votes.
8 votes.
There you go. They covered the spread. I'll put it that way. Did they feel like it's victory for them?
I think they have to feel that they really squeaked by. I haven't run the numbers yet, but just think about how much those 8 votes cost Mitt Romney. How much each vote in Iowa cost him versus what it cost for Santorum is a huge difference, a vast gulf between those numbers. So they really had to claw and fight just to get this. I think they're glad that they don't have to wake up to the headline that Santorum wins in Iowa, even if it's just by 8 votes. But I think most people are basically considering this a tie.
So Perry and Bachmann are thinking about getting out. Perry has a bunch of money, could sort of hang on. I've been making the argument that this proportionate awarding of delegates can allow for you to hang on for a little while, and maybe something surprising happens later on down the line. If Perry or Bachmann drop out, is there a scenario in which later they look at South Carolina, like Pawlenty's probably looking at Iowa now, and go, sheesh, maybe I should have stuck with it for a while?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what Perry is going to do, but I think what he meant by reassess, I think he's going to go back to Texas and say, what can I do to make it as bad for Mitt Romney as humanly possible? And whatever scenario going forward that is, he'll probably go do that, whether that's dropping out or sticking in it just a little bit longer. Yep. But I'll tell you, in this scenario, no one's kicking themselves more than Tim Pawlenty. I don't know if that would be possible.
But Chris, when I look at this thing, I always think if I were the candidate, that the question I would have to ask myself is, okay, do I have the money? Do I have the staff? And what is my pathway to victory? And I think that's what's going on right now with Bachmann. I think that's what's going on with Perry. I can't see a pathway to victory, and if they're honest with themselves, I don't think either they can either. So at some point, don't those people just sort of say, I fought the good fight, and they take the phone call from Reince Priebus, and then they bow out gracefully?
I think that's certainly true for Bachmann. She just completely deflated in the last couple of months of the campaign. As Mary Catherine said, Perry still got the apparatus. He still got the cash. He can stay in it, but does he even really?
But how does he win?
And does he win? And, I think he could still prove pretty strong in South Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks in it just to give it a shot, but I would be surprised if Bachmann does not drop out sooner or later, if not at her press conference later this morning.
Who is the Romney campaign more worried about, Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum?
I think it's got to be Newt Gingrich, just because he has so much more staying power and he can resonate with voters in states beyond Iowa. Rick Santorum put so much effort into that state and basically ignored the rest of the country. I think Romney. I don't think Romney sees Santorum as a major threat because it took him so long to build up that support in Iowa. He was the very last candidate that the conservatives looked to give a shot, and I think Romney thinks that Santorum is just going to kind of fade away into the night unless he can get a huge fundraising boost out of this. And people start to look at him seriously from Iowa, but I really doubt it.
All right, Chris, hey, thanks for getting up early. I know it was a long night for you going from Iowa to New Hampshire. We really appreciate it, and great work out there.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.